Hey everyone, and welcome to another video, and today we're taking a look at another Android TV box, and this is the WE2USat K3 Pro. So quite a weird kind of name, but we'll take a look at the actual spec, and it's very similar to a lot of the other boxes. So it does have a quad-core ARM Cortex-A5 CPU, Mali G31 GPU, it has 6K UHD resolution, it has 4GB of DDR3 RAM, it has 32GB of eMMC flash storage, it supports both 2.4 as well as 5GHz Wi-Fi, and it also has a gigabit Ethernet port. The Ethernet port is how I've actually tested it. It does have a voice search as well as the voice remote. I have tested that and that does work quite well, and it is running Android 10. On the side of the box you do have a TF card as well as two USB ports. On the back of the box you have the LAN port, you have the AV port, optical, HD out, and then you have the power connection, which is 5V 2 amps. On the other side of the box it is just plain, and on the front you have that minimal branding in the corner. Here you can see all the ports as well as the front indicator labeled, and on the bottom of the box you do actually have some fixing points if you did want to actually wall mount this or fix this behind your TV out of sight. Here you can see on the front you do have that minimal branding. The LED indicator is sort of kind of behind that as well, so when it's off it's red and when it's on it turns blue. Footprint of the box is very minimal. It's quite a small box. One downside of that is the cables can tend to pull the box. Take a look at the remote. It is quite well laid out. This is one of my favorite remotes from all the Android TV boxes I've actually tested. I did actually stick to using this rather than using my universal smart remote, and just the layout and having that dedicated home button for me is a real plus. It does come with a user manual. I didn't bother looking at this because the box is very simple to set up. And finally, here's everything that you get. So you get the box, you get the remote, you get the user manual, it comes with its own HDMI cable, and you do get that 5V 2 amp power supply. I didn't get the UK plug because there was a slight delay if I'd waited, so I did ask them to just send the box out, but luckily I did have additional plugs at home already, so I could use one of those. Take a look at the back of the remote. Here you can see it does have some instructions at the top on how you pair this with your TV if you want to make use of those top volume and power controls, and at the bottom you just pull that bottom flap off in order to access the battery section. Now we'll take a look at the actual interface of the box itself. In this portion of the video we'll take a look at the actual interface, the software, what you actually get with the box. This is the layout. So out of all the Android TV boxes I've tested, this is actually my favorite in terms of the user interface. So this instantly reminds me of Apple TV. You could probably say it's similar to like Fire TV Stick and other devices like that as well, but I would say it's more Apple TV because you just have icons. You don't have no separate rows of ads or anything like that. So in terms of the actual box itself, it comes pre-set up, and right now there's a lot more apps installed compared to how it initially came. Initially there was only a few apps. What I've done is I've installed basically all of the additional apps through their sort of own app store just to test the box in terms of whether it will slow down or not. So that's why I've actually got all of these additional apps like Speed Test and other things like that installed, Aptoid TV, things like that. I've literally just done that to test whether or not it will slow the box down in order to test the performance. But the main thing about this particular box is the top 4 apps. So as I say, it comes pre-installed. Now this one's actually new. This one wasn't actually here before, so I'll show you what actually happened. So initially when you come in, all of these top 4, so Moz Live, Moz SuperTV, Moz VOD and Anime, they'll all just have that arrow, and then once you click on it, it will actually download them and install them. This will be my first look at what this actually is as well. Okay, so once you've clicked on all the icons, you'll have these top 4 installed, and then next to that you have the cleanup. Okay, so if we come to the all, you can see from the top left that we've got 1,524 channels in total. So that is all of the channels that you actually get with this particular app, and you can see down the left hand side it's very similar to a lot of other ones. The difference with this one is you do have the fold at the bottom for Australian channels. There's not many in it, so I think, yeah, if you see there, it's only 43 channels that's actually in it. It's slightly different to a few of the other, like the Superbox and a couple of the other ones, but generally the general gist of things is very much similar. The one thing I do like about this is the actual interface. So it's very fast. So one of the complaints that I had about the Tangula X5 Pro was their main app was very sluggish, very slow, and it would get slower and slower. This, it responds almost instantly, and the response on the remote is really good. I'll talk about the remote a little later on because that is one of the positives for me. Generally I don't actually use the remotes that come with devices, but with this one I have actually stuck to it. I'm not going to spend too much time in this particular app because that is how my videos end up getting taken down, because YouTube has a habit of flagging videos for community violations. So that is the Mars Live TV. It's basically a live TV app, and that's what comes with the box. If you want to install additional ones, you can. Obviously you do have Marketplace, you have Play Store, and you can install whatever you want, but that's basically what comes with it. Mars SuperTV appears to be a backup of the actual main TVs. So in Mars TV you've got 1,699. Now this app is brand new. I've not actually seen this one before, and at the moment it doesn't appear to be working, so that might just be something to do with the actual setup. But in terms of how you're actually using it and what content you get, it's similar to the other one. So in terms of sports folder, you've got 71 sports channels there. I wouldn't say, yes, a few of these are slightly different. Let's see if any of these are actually working. No, it doesn't appear to be working. So maybe this app is still being sorted out. This, as I say, wasn't there when I first started testing the box. The Mars VOD I have tested, so we'll come into there, and this works very well. Now the one sort of caveat I will say is, from everything that I've searched, so on the left hand side you've got a list of genres, and then on the actual main portion you've got the actual content. If you notice, every single one of these only lists HD. None of them actually have 4K on them, and I couldn't find anything that's actually listed in 4K. So you do have some that are listed as cam copies, and others say, I believe, HD rip, like that one. None of them are above HD quality level. Now if that's an issue for you, there are other apps that you can install that would give you similar content, but the way in which this works for me is what makes it so good. If you come right to the top, you can actually switch it from movies to TV shows, and it's similar story. So every single one of these is also just in HD quality. What we'll do is we'll just randomly click on one and we'll just test it out, and you can see the sort of load times. So there you go. So as you can see, very fast, very responsive. So no issues with this particular app at all. Content wise, obviously you're going to get all the same content that you would be able to find elsewhere. So you do have all the movies and TV shows. So in the top right hand corner you can see it's got 17,181 different TV series, and if we go back to the movies section, you've got 44,583 movies, so lots of content. And the final app that comes bundled with it is Mars Anime. As the name suggests, this is all anime, and this is also separated, I believe, into movies and TV shows as well. I'm not really into anime, so none of this means anything to me. In terms of the rest of the box, you do have a few apps built in. So you do have Disney Plus, you have Netflix, you have Prime, and you also have the YouTube app. I have tested YouTube app. It does go all the way up to 4K 60, and it does give you different levels of HDR compatibility as well. So that will depend on how you've actually got your output device set up, so your projector or your TV. In my case, obviously being the projector. Now the ones that I didn't test was Netflix, Disney Plus or Prime, and once again, as I've mentioned in other videos, main reason for that is because of what content you already get, so I don't feel the need to actually go into them to test them individually. As you can see, I have installed a load of additional apps, and it's not affected the performance at all. So it still performs super smooth in every single app. I've not had a single app crash on me, and no issues like that. The one sort of caveat I will say is, the one thing I don't like is there doesn't appear to be any way of rearranging any of these apps. So say for example I wanted the YouTube app right at the top on this right hand side. I don't seem to have any way of actually rearranging that. You do have some settings, so this is basically what you run through when you first set it up, and you have like your network settings. It gives you your sound and display settings that you can run through. It gives you the common settings that you can go through and set up the actual device. You have your update settings, which I've checked, there's no updates available for it. You have your app section, which you can go in and you can basically uninstall individual apps from here, and then you have the about section as well. So nowhere on this does it give you the option to actually rearrange the home screen, and you can't press and hold on it or press menu or anything like that. Nothing actually allows you to rearrange any of these apps. So that's the one sort of downside I have with the actual box, because it's just a random order. Obviously this isn't the order that these were installed in, it's not alphabetical order, so I'm not sure what it's using to choose the layout. but it is what it is. Obviously with the box, the 4 main ones that you're now getting are along the top, and then the cleanup one as well. In terms of setup, so unlike the Tangula, which did actually give you a range for your display, this one doesn't give you a range, but it does go all the way up to 4K 60 in both your standard resolution as well as your DCI resolution as well. So 1496 by 2160 rather than 3840 by 2160, which is the normal one that most movies and TV shows would be presented in. All the other settings are very similar to a lot of the other boxes. So you do have settings for input devices, you can go in and change your HDMI CEC controls. I would suggest turning these on, that way the box doesn't just stay on in the background. In terms of storage, what comes with the box, so it does have 4 GB of built-in memory, and then you get 32 GB of shared storage. Obviously with the unboxing section, I would have already shown you that you do have additional USB ports that you can plug in additional pen drives or USB drives if you really want to extend that. I don't think you should really need it. In terms of the actual storage that's on there, you can see I've still have 25 GB available. So yeah, I mean, I've installed pretty much every app that comes with the sort of built-in marketplace, and I'll just quickly show you that one. So it is this. So when you click on it, this is what you would get. Now, when I first set the box up, there was an update and you do have to restart the box. Until you restart the box, this app won't load. So it'll open up, but nothing will display. So if you're getting that, then you just need to restart the box because it needs to implement that actual update. So on this, as you can see, these are all the apps that you can install straight away. So your top row icons, all these Mars apps, you don't actually install them from here. They're just pre-installed. You don't actually add them from here. And then you can go down to couple for the Android section, and then you finally have a couple of at the bottom with your settings where you can uninstall any apps that you've already got installed just by coming into here. So that is the marketplace app. You do also have a Contact Us app, and this just gives you some QR codes as well as some information on the box if you need to actually contact support. You do have a Miracast receiver app. You have the initial setup app if you do want to run through the initial setup again. And then you have the actual system settings app, which just brings up the actual Android TV settings, and here you can go in and change whatever settings that you'd like. Overall, the box has worked really well. As I said, this Mars SuperTV app, that's brand new, that wasn't there before, so I'm not sure why that one's not working at the moment or what it's about. They may still be updating it. It looks to be just an additional live TV app, and the main one is the Mars Live. Obviously anything additional that you get is a bonus. I'm sure they'll get it resolved because all of these ones generally do tend to work very reliably. Finally, just coming on to the actual remote. So out of all of the boxes that I've tested, apart from the Tangula that had the premium Air Mouse remote, this is the actual favorite remote out of all the devices that I've been using, because everything about it is still very plasticky, but the buttons feel really nice. So you get a really good tactile click. It doesn't have that sort of empty feeling that you get with a lot of the other boxes, where when you click on something, you can almost feel like you're pushing straight onto the main system board. On this, you do have actual buttons dampened quite nicely. The rubber that they've used is quite nice. None of the buttons are fading just yet, which can be another issue with a lot of the cheaper remotes that you get with the other boxes, where the actual buttons, or the text that's written on them just rubs off over time. The layout of the buttons is very nice, and the best thing about this for me is the fact that it's got that home button right in the middle of the remote. So no matter where you are, you can just hit that button and it will take you home. You can, if you want to, you can go in and customize a few of the buttons as well. I haven't done that. And just the general usage, I didn't bother also setting up any of the TV controls either, because generally I will eventually switch to using my smart remote. It does give you instructions on how to do that on the back of the remote. The mouse function on this one is slightly better than some of the other ones, I would say, because you can single click to make fine adjustments, and then you can press and hold to make faster adjustments as you're seeing on screen. If you want to, you can obviously still connect Air Mouses and other keyboards and other Bluetooth devices, but as in terms of a built-in remote, the mouse function on this one is probably second only to the Tangula X5 Pro that I tested. Overall, I would say this is probably my second favorite box in terms of software and speed. I'd say any of the S5 Pro or the S5 Max, because essentially they're both the same device. They're both probably the fastest in terms of general usage. This I would say is on par with that, but I actually prefer the layout of this and the general usage of this. Where this sort of loses out a little is in content. The Tangula does have more content that comes with it. As always, I will have links in the description below. I will also try and put a discount code in there for you as well. Generally, if you do use any of the links that I provide, it will give you at least about a 10% discount on the actual retail price, and that will be on top of any additional offers that they will have going at the time as well. I will have more testing coming and comparisons between various different Android TV boxes, and I do have additional devices on the way as well. So if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of those videos. And I'd really appreciate if you can give this video a thumbs up as well. And until the next one, thanks very much for watching.